Chair Stringfield, would you like me to run through all of the participants?
Yeah, go ahead with that, Catherine.
So I see Randy Bonneau, Dan Durazo, Mark Stringfield, Andrew Martz, Andy Vibora, Cedric Rudd, Clarissa Warwick, Courtney Breisel, Jody McNatt, Liz Gallagher, Wadeto B, Pietrek Sarkowski, I always mess that up, Ray Beverly, Rhonda Reed, Tina Harchie, Tina Goldberg, Baden Francisco. I think I got everybody.
Great. So we have a new member, correct, Catherine?
We do. Courtney is joining us. This is her first official meeting.
And I hope I don't butcher this last name, Courtney. Is it Grizel?
Oh, I wish it were that fancy. It's Greasel.
Oh, well, shoot. Well, go ahead and introduce yourself to the rest of the committee.
Sure, and I apologize for ambient noise. I'm at a annual meeting. But so my name is Courtney Greasel. I'm with Sierra Pacific Industries. I'm the Oregon Community Relations Manager. We have operations in Washington, Oregon, California. I think I muted myself maybe. Is the ambient noise loud? Is that why?
I think it's okay, Courtney. I think you can keep going.
Okay, sorry about that. And so our operations nearest to the airport are actually out off Highway 99. Right as you leave the airport and are heading north or south, you have an amazing view of our mills. So I'm excited to be here. I'll tell you my background. I've been with the company since January 3rd. And the Friday before was my last day with the city of Springfield, where I was the economic development director. I had been there about 17 years. So change that's resulted in me being on this committee, and I'm happy to see some familiar faces. That always feels good during moments of change.
Oh, did we lose Mark? Oh, I still see him on there, Mark.
There, you got me now?
There we go, yes.
Well, Courtney, welcome to the committee, and we'll enjoy having you here. And I think at this point in time, we'll throw it over to you, Catherine, for the director's report.
Okay, thank you so much, Mark. And Courtney, I will say I'm so glad you were able to join us on this Airport Advisory Committee. I knew you'd see some familiar faces, and Courtney and I worked together on the consortium of different organizations that brought Southwest to town. So she's got quite a lot of familiarity with the airport already.
But I will say, you also were a good partner with us for a lot of years on other big recruitments like Sentinel One. We have one of the largest cybersecurity companies in the world in town, and Catherine was a big part. So a lot of history, good work.
All right, very good. Well, I'm going to share my screen. And we'll get into, make sure I've done it right, Randy. Yes. Yay. Okay, very good. Okay, here's the agenda. We'll go through the activity report, the financial report, and then we have Jody McNatt, our operations and training manager, joining us today to give us an overview of operations and training. So I will kick it over to Andrew Martz for the March activity report.
Great, thanks, Catherine. Hello, everybody. So here are numbers for the month of March, and a lot of green on there. So we're busy. Operations in general up over 2019 levels, just a little bit there, and definitely up over last year. And here's where the numbers really start to get striking. Air carrier landings up 17% from pre-pandemic, and then 21% from last year. And then this number, the 36% up from pre-pandemic numbers for March. So, and remember, 2019 was a record year. So these numbers are striking. And then obviously we're way up from last year. And total passengers kind of mirrors our plane passengers across the board. So year to date, up to March, we are 30% up over pre-pandemic numbers. And then obviously up significantly from the numbers we had during the pandemic last year. Our load factors, so remember, this is the key number the airlines look at. This is basically how full are the planes. So we want a high number here. So we're just a little bit down from pre-pandemic, but remember, we're fresh into the year. So if you couple that to the numbers we just saw, I would expect this to change as we move through the year. But we're sitting at an 83% load factor. That is spectacular. You know, that's numbers you start getting around there. You kind of, okay, we need to add more service. We need to add more planes, which is really spectacular when you think about all the new air service and all the seats we've just added with our 3 new airlines, Southwest being the majority, the biggest of the 3. So market shares, you can see there's some flattening out here between Alaska and United. United has traditionally been, clearly the front runner in market share. So we've got Southwest coming in, grabbing a good chunk. We've got Alaska doing well. So it's good to see kind of some of this parity as far as who's our market share leaders. Air cargo, we're up both from pre-pandemic and from last year, but still down for the year. So this number, if you remember for previous months, our air cargo plane has been down. So now we've kind of seen a switch this month. We're okay, starting to rebound. Some of those mushrooms are starting to go back out again to the restaurants and stuff like that. That's one of our biggest air cargo products. So, but still down over the year, but hopefully these numbers will change as we get through the year into the summer.
Okay. Any questions for Andrew on that?
No, this is Bobby Green. I hope you guys can hear me.
We can hear you, Bob.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't have the video on my phone, so I'm having some operator errors here, but I'm paying attention.
Okay.
Still kind of working on my laptop. All right.
Okay, very good.
But I can hear you guys just fine. I can hear you just fine.
All right.
Sounds good.
And I can't see y'all, so if you have questions, please just speak up. Okay, we'll move forward here then. So this slide is just a operator error. There we go. It's a load factor comparison, comparing our 10 up, 10 down airports of similar size for January of 2021. 2020, it compares 2022 to 2021. So it shows that Eugene had a 13% increase in enplanements over 2019. The load factor of 77% is really pretty decent for January. And you can see from this eye chart that only Jackson Hole, Wyoming was in the positive this month for enplanements compared to 2019 at 19%. So of all of the airports of similar size to us, only 2 are seeing these positive enplanement numbers at this point. And then we'll get into the financial report, and Patricia will join us.
Hello, everyone. Well, it's continued good news. Our revenue is 10% over the budget and 135% over last year, which is absolutely amazing. Personnel is
Patricia, we're having some trouble hearing you, so I don't know if the mic needs to go closer or.
I'm not really sure what to do here. Hold on, let me check the settings. Can you hear me now?
It's about the same. It's pretty muffled. Maybe we can all just turn our audio up.
I'll try to talk really loud.
Okay, that's good. That's better.
Okay, I'll talk really loud. So it's continued good news with the financials. The revenue is 10% over budget and 135% over last year's. We're recovering strongly. Personnel is 3% below budget and 12% above last year, but that's due to the additional FTE that we added. Materials and supplies are under by 22% and 24% above last year's. We did start doing some more cleaning and things and renewing some of our maintenance contracts. So the expenses that we held down last year, we're now bringing back. The capital is still at purchase of that John Deere tractor. Central services just chugs along at 1/12 every month. Overall, our operating expenses under budget 10% and up 15% from last year. Again, that's the FTE. So at the end, we were in a positive operating position of almost 1.5 or 1.8 million, and that's even without the relief grants. And so then we did draw some grants, so we ended at almost 3 million in the good. So we are looking great. Let's go on to the charts. This is a very interesting chart. That yellow is this year. You can see how the revenue is spiking, particularly where we draw that grant money. But overall, the revenue is got a strong recovery. It's looking good this year. Expenses just kind of chug along at the same rate they do every year. You can see the graph kind of matches itself over the years. This is the most interesting one. So this is our cumulative net gain without the relief grants. And you can see that yellow bar it just goes straight up there at the end. So look, you can go back to that last one. You can really see where COVID hit us with the gray bar. And that was last fiscal year. That's where we just came. So that's a strong recovery that we're in. And then the next one is with the relief grants. And of course, that bottom over right here. I find that last one most interesting. Okay, that's it. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions on the financial report? Okie dokie, we'll keep moving along. Okay, and then here's the general aviation comparison for February 2022. And looks like Redmond's having a lot of activity right now for local traffic. And for Eugene, it looks like we've been kind of flat, and I don't know if any of our GA folks out there have any thoughts on that.
Actually, this is Ray Beverly. The weather here has been tremendous, and it has slowed down a lot of flight instruction, check rides, and just overall light general aviation flying. And that could also be why the total operations were down, because general aviation has been just, we just can't fly right now.
You just been grounded. Yep.
Grounded.
I kind of thought it had to do with the weather, but I suppose what we say here in Oregon is we need the rain, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Ray. Okay, and then taking a look at the forward-looking airline schedules for April 2022, we're up 19% up in departures and 52% up in seat capacity compared to 2021. So that's pretty amazing. In July, we will see 12% more departures and 52% more seats at Eugene compared to July of 2021. So that's just a lot of capacity that's come into our market. This actually chart adjusted from last month as the airlines are adding larger aircraft and frequencies to address Oregon 21 and the World Athletics Championship. So we've been talking to our airline partners for years about this big event, and they are indeed coming through for us and adding some lift. So that's really great to see. So we're going to keep this slide in through July, just so we can kind of keep tracking that. But our forward-looking schedule actually goes out one more month. So In August, we'll see a 12% increase in, or 12% more departures, and then 46% more seats at Eugene compared to August of 2021. So you can kind of see between July, where we're seeing a 52% increase in seats, and then in August, a 46% increase in seats. You can see the airlines adjusting back after that major event. So all subject to change, but it's a great way to track what we can expect moving forward. Okay, the
Catherine?
good news. Did you have a question, somebody?
Yeah, this is Courtney. I have a just kind of 101 type question.
Sure.
So when you see those increases of seat capacity coming into the region for an event, we assume, what are the airlines looking at as far as, I would assume they want the plane to leave full also. And if, you know, we're really bringing a lot of folks in, but we're probably not sending them out at the same rate.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Correct. And they account for it. They know that in a big surge event like this, that's what's going to happen. So they may try to utilize their aircraft in a different way. They may kind of bring people in and then route it in a different way than they might normally to be able to capture some market somewhere else. But often they will just sometimes even just fly out a ferry flight. That's what if it flies empty or nearly empty, basically, just because they know they're capturing the market on the inbound side. Other questions on that? Okay. Well, we'll go on to the exciting news of the day. So a federal judge on Monday in Florida overturned the CDC's national mask mandate on public transportation and airports and on airlines. The TSA then, effective immediately, said they're no longer going to enforce the security directive that was in place with the emergency amendment requiring mask use on public transportation and transportation hubs. Now, the U.S. Justice Department is, they say they will appeal the ruling, but only if the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention determine that the mandate is still necessary to protect public health. So that's really put us into kind of this wait and see mode. There are no masks required in the terminal building any longer, or I don't believe any of our airline partners are requiring masks any longer. But that could change again. So we're just trying to stay nimble as we have throughout this whole pandemic. And then big news, the Chicago nonstop is coming back. United is making good on a long promise that they've been wanting to bring that flight back, that red-eye flight daily. And so June 3rd, it comes back. It will stay in all summer. We understand that right now it's summer seasonal because all airlines are experiencing a pilot shortage and flight crew shortage, but they have made the commitment to bring this flight back for that duration over the summer because they also recognize that this major world athletics event is coming in July. So they wanted to make sure that they had that flight in place for that. So great news. Hopefully, you know, as the staffing issues hopefully get a little bit better, they intend to bring that nonstop back year round permanently. But at this point, they're trying to be realistic about their staffing constraints. And then we are partnering with Lane Transit District to have Lane Transit District bring in shuttle buses for the World Athletics Championships, which is great news. So this came about because we have been having some really some constraints around our ground transportation. In pre-pandemic times, there were more than 2,000 Uber and Lyft drivers that were registered with the city of Eugene. Now there are 370. And we felt that pain a couple of weeks back when there was a conference group that came in late at night and were basically stranded at the airport, which was really unfortunate. There were no taxis, they couldn't get an Uber. our airport door-to-door shuttle had failed during the pandemic, and despite a couple of rounds of putting out an RFP, we haven't been able to get a company to take that service over again. So that got the conversation started with Traveling County and other folks. Hotels are also struggling to find drivers for their courtesy shuttles, so that's kind of compounding the problem. So LTD is going to be operating, I think, Andrew, is it a 4-week period or 3-week period?
2-week period, starting the Wednesday before the games and going to the Wednesday after. Their plan is to do every half hour to have a bus come between the airport and the downtown bus terminal station.
So hopefully that will make sure nobody gets stranded at the airport. But I can tell you, if you've ever had an interest in driving for Uber or Lyft or know anybody that wants to, that is a real need in our community right now. And so hopefully we'll have a few more drivers on board before we get to this major event in our community. Okay, so that's the slides I have. Are there any questions on the report this month? Otherwise, we'll go to Jody.
Just a quick follow-up on the LTD. What's the span of service that they'll run, half-hour frequency?
You said the span of service, is that what you asked? Sorry. So it's from the Wednesday before the games to the Wednesday after.
Daily, like 8 in the
Oh,
morning till
times.
8 at night, or what span of service?
So I don't think they've finalized that, but I just had a conversation with them earlier this week, and they indicated that start time would be 7 a.m. I didn't get an end time for them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there's no other questions at this point, then we will have Jody share her screen and give us an overview of operations and training.
Yes. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Oh, good. Okay. So the Airport Operations Department has been established at the airport for quite some time. A lot of times people want to know, why are we here? And our simple answer is we are here for enforcement of policies and regulations, just making sure that we are meeting City of Eugene standards, State of Oregon standards, and also federal aviation standards. Excuse me, I have a whistle in my lung today. We also act as a liaison between agencies, the FAA Air Traffic Control Tower, our tech ops people that maintain all of our navigational aids, our National Safety Transportation Board, NTSB, Flight Standards District offices, the DoD, and other agencies that may operate at our airport.
Hey Jody, your slides are not forwarding, so try switching the view on your screens.
Let me see here.
Up at the top, it should say view options, and I think you have a dual screen, right? Just pick the other screen.
I do. Let me see here. It is not wanting to do it here.
Well, that's better.
Is that better?
Yeah, this will work.
Okay. Sorry about that. I don't see exactly what you see. Okay, so airport operations, staffing, and support. We have 4 full-time operations duty officers. They are all working on being AAAE airport certified in airfield operations. Essentially what we do is we send them to training so we can optimize their knowledge within the position to be more congruent with other airports and to maintain safety and compliance. We are servicing the airport within the parameters of the air traffic control tower hours. The air traffic control tower is open at 0600 in the morning until 11:30 p.m. And so we actually extend our hours from 5 a.m. to 1:30 in the morning, so we can have a full overview of our operations as much as possible. They are on 4 10-hour shifts. We have an A team that works Sunday through Wednesday and then Wednesday through Saturday, so we can have as much coverage as possible. We are also first responders for the airport. What we respond to are incident responses for aircraft accidents and incidents, public accidents and incidents on airport property, wildlife strikes if they occur, field and weather conditions. We monitor the field as well. Airside driving violations, so anyone that's operating a vehicle on the airport side of the fence, and also radio communications and radio failures. And so what do we do as far as our services and coordination? Well, we have 24/7 coverage for airfield maintenance and construction, airport activities and support, commercial airline activities, tenant activities. So if we have anyone of our tenants that's throwing a party in our hangar, well, we make sure that we oversee that everything is safe and secure for security and for the FAA piece. Mobile dispatch, we have a cell phone that everybody has a phone, has the number for. And so if anything happens that they need a response, they call us and we dispatch resources out. Aircraft equipment parking, we help coordinate all of that. That way everything is operating safely and efficiently at the terminal, also at our general aviation ramps as well. We also respond to emergency responses throughout the entire airport, whether it's medical, accident, or other emergency responses. The Federal Administration, Aviation Administration, we also support the Airport Certification Manual. It is my job to ensure that our ACM is compliant with FAA standards and it is up to date. So with that, our airport emergency plan falls under the ACM, a wildlife hazard management plan, snow and ice control plan, our surface movement guidance control system plan, that is our low visibility for when we have foggy or stormy conditions that reduces visibility. And also we keep record of training, personnel training, and to make sure that we are on top of what the standards are. And also we monitor all of our airport advisories that are handed down from the FAA to ensure that we're still current. For the state of Oregon, the public safety side, we do all the monitoring and reporting in the event of, spills or any type of leaks or anything that can counteract with our spill prevention and control and countermeasure plan for our environmental manager. We are the eyes and on the field, and so we are the ones that are going to report anything that would put us out of compliance of that plan, as well as our stormwater pollution control plan. If we see anything that has not been spotted by other people out in the field, we are the ones that will report that. And also, if we observe anything that is outside the parameters of Oregon Safety Health Administration as well, OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health. City of Eugene public portion, we assist with parking control and enforcement. We now have full-time parking control officers that are out there, and so now we are actually a support role to that. So we help with traffic control if it gets too bogged down on the front curb, or if we have a vehicle accident, we can help facilitate to make sure that EMS is able to access that area, and we can write the reporting for all of that. We do have citation authority, and we also have to uphold standards for our municipal court and vehicle accident response. We do all the reporting for that, so our parking control can ensure that our public can transverse safely in between incidents. So how do we keep up? Well, we went from paper. So now what we're doing is we're working on getting everything over into the electronic records retention. We have 28 training categories for all of our 139, that's the FAA piece, but we also integrate other training categories to our monthly trainings when we can meet. Because of COVID, we had to halt all of our live trainings. And so unfortunately, it's been death by PowerPoint for the last couple of years. And now we can finally see the rainbow at the end of the tunnel where we can start meeting live and having that opportunity to do face-to-face training and more interaction. And so that's very exciting for me, for sure. And so as you can see here, we have everything distributed out by what month and what we train for that month. And we will also incorporate OSHA training for occupational pieces, environmental pieces, security for our security manager, and whatever trainings that the management team needs to bring forth to staff. So portion of that is airport familiarization, vehicle operations, what we do during low visibility operations, emergency responses for our emergency plan, all of that, so we can better handle situations that happen at the airport. We also have been seeing increased traffic and growing pains. We had no idea that we would explode so quickly after COVID. Our recovery has just been amazing. And so we went from just having day-to-day operations in the airfield to COVID, where everything just closed down within itself. And we really were just trying to keep busy as much as possible. But at the same time, we really were able to focus inwardly on how we can be more efficient and be more effective in our job. And then boom, COVID lifted and we've never seen so much traffic before. So I think we're finally starting to catch our breath and get back to our daily operations. And so we're continuously doing research and development to ensure that we are meeting all the standards within all of the agencies, and also making sure that we are efficient and that we are able to have all of our record retention so we can keep a chronological log of what we are doing now and how we can always improve. And we use that through technology of our web-based reporting systems that we currently use. And we have integrated our technology into the field. So we have a mobile office now for the guys. So they don't have to stop everything they're doing, come back to the operations center. They also are able to use cell phones and tablets and whatnot to ensure that we have continuous reporting. We also are working on future departmental goals. And also we accomplish all this by monthly employee training to ensure that everyone knows how to stay current with the changes. And with that, that completes my presentation. And one nice thing about airport operations, we try not to look back. We try to always look forward.
I have two questions, if I may.
Sure.
Our EAA group has asked me, and I told them I would look into it. How many people constitute a party in our hangar? I know that sounds funny, but you would not believe the amount of sarcasm that comes from permission for a party. So how many people do you actually consider a party?
It depends on the people, Ray.
Yeah, it really truly does. It depends on the people. Tammy Harchie, she's our security manager. I know she was on here earlier. She might be able to explain that for the security piece better than I can. For the operations piece, it depends on if you're bringing vehicles onto the field to your hangar. And so if you are bringing people in through the fence in vehicles and you're going to have pedestrians operating outside of the hangar, that is where it becomes more of an issue for me and my staff to ensure that everybody stays where they're supposed to be. But you could have 10 people in your hangar, but if they don't leave the hangar, then it doesn't impact my planet. Does that help,
Okay.
Ray?
Somewhat. One other question, who specifically do we call to notify of a gathering rather than a party or whatever?
I would say Tammy Harchie for sure. She's our security manager, and she's the one that has to, hold on, I lost you. There we go. She's the one that has to coordinate with the TSA and make sure that the security piece is finalized. And then what she'll do is she'll tell me, and then she'll tell the operations guys, because the operations department and the operations duty officers land under the FAA and the TSA piece. So essentially they have two managers, me and Tammy. And so we info share continuously. And so. we
Okay, and
make
Tammy,
sure
what
it's coordinated.
phone number?
So I'm here.
What phone number, please?
So actually, if you're going to hold a party, there is a form to fill out on our website. Randy has put that on the website, and it goes to Randy and myself. If you're going to have any type of gathering that would involve people that are unbadged coming into your hangar or into our AOA, then you would need to fill out that form so that we can decide whether or not there needs to be any type of security plan or anything else. So that has to be done and taken care of, because we have to ensure that anybody that is not badged, that there are enough badged people to provide that escorting portion of it, and that the folks that you have coming in that are unbadged will be controlled so that they don't go in places that they're not supposed to and get to where they're not supposed to be. So the number, Ray, really depends upon how many badged people you're going to have in the area, and then how many people you want to come in. That's really what that goes about. And so that form is there to fill out, and then we will be able to figure out if there needs to be a security plan or if there doesn't need to be a security plan, and you could just do whatever event you would like.
Thank you.
What day is the party, Ray?
Well, I'm trying to mitigate, how do I want to put it? Mitigate opposition to what appears to be a systemic nightmare. I mean, people are asking.
It really is TSA regulation, Ray, about escorting and having, there's always the issue about places where people can park and how you can get in and out of the fencing. So that's really where that comes into. And so I just need to get that information that's on that form that Randy put on the website, so that we can decide best how to handle it.
All right, let me take it to an extreme to help answer, like I said, some of the questions. If I invite a friend who is not associated with the airport, doesn't have a badge, to come fly in my airplane, do I need to fill out the form?
No, that's one person that is just your guest.
How about
We're talking an actual event in which I would say you're going to have a large number of people, in which you're going to have them in and out of your hangar and need to figure out how to get them to and from your hangar.
Okay.
You know, it really is event oriented, not just a guest oriented.
Okay, super. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tammy. Jody, any other questions for Jody? Okie dokie. And then I think, Andrew, you were going to give us a quick construction update, and we're gearing up for our construction season. It's going to be a busy one.
Yeah, it's gonna be busy. So just kind of high level update. Our CVIS bag scanning TSA machine, it is currently being installed. Looking on target to have that up and running mid-May. So that'll really help Southwest Airlines, because it's right behind their ticket counter. So that's one of the asks that they had when we were recruiting for them, and we're going to be able to deliver it. A little delayed because of supply chain issues, but it's underway as we speak. We had our opening pre-construction meeting for our new RON heavy pads this morning. So that project is moving forward. It got a little more complicated than we thought, just because the FAA fiber line runs directly underneath that whole ramp area. So part of that project is now we're relocating the FAA fiber lines, they're FOTS lines, and then we'll be putting in a concrete heavy pad with associated taxiway. So we'll be able to fit 5 aircraft is the plan there. So that'll put a little relief for us before we can get our new concourse. Our QTA, or for normal people, car wash, construction is moving forward. So that's good. So we're at the 90% design phase for that. And so that will begin construction probably mid-June, early July for something like that. It's really weather dependent. let's see, our parking lot expansion is moving forward. So we're going out to bid on that really soon. So that's an expansion of our long-term lot. And it will include, we're going to cover the walkway from the economy lot. So that will have a cover that stretches basically from where you hit the road in the long term, and it'll connect to our existing covered walkway. So that'll be good for our passengers. And then Atlantic Aviation has broken ground on their new fuel farm. So that's down by LCC Atlantic Aviation area. So they're having a brand new fuel farm that's doubling the fuel capacity, storage capacity here at the airport. And will also consolidate all the glycol storage for the airlines. And glycol is what they use for de-icing activities. Yeah, another update, not construction related, but our artwork all changes out this week. So as of Friday, if you want to come see the new exhibits, it will be up. I think that's it.
Did you mention the PCA units?
Oh, sorry. Yes, you're forgetting something. PCA units. So those are the air conditioners. They're going on all 6 A-gate jet bridges. So we have the contract for the designer. So they'll actually be out next week to take a look, and that should be done. They're thinking mid to late fall is the goal on that, to have those up and running. So that'll be nice. So if you're not familiar with these, what we're doing is we're taking PCA units, preconditioned air units, and they attach directly to the jet bridges. And so there's a hose that hooks up to the aircraft, and they can either heat or cool it. And why that's great is we can get all the diesel run PCA units and diesel tugs that pull them off the ramp. So we'll actually be taking those emissions out of the airport.
All right, thanks, Andrew. Any questions on that? All right, I'll hand it back over to you, Mark.
Okay, I'll open it up to the floor. If anybody has anything they want to add or ask before we adjourn.
I've got something I'd like to add, if you don't mind. So my name is Josh. I'm with Lane Community College, and kind of a follow-up on those GA numbers. As Ray was mentioning, weather's been rough. The freezing level has been abnormally low for an April. But the other thing is we're rolling out a new degree program. We've got a brand new degree program starting this summer. And so in order to teach out the old degree, we expected our numbers to kind of flatten a little bit this term and last term, if not even a slight decline. But the exciting news is this new degree program has huge interest. And so normally Lane Community College was taking on about 15 to 20 students a year. We currently have 27 students that have fully applied, another 10 that are floating, and we have to cap at 35. So we have a very good chance that not only are we going to be up in the 30 to 35 range, we may actually be on a wait list for the program this year. And so things are going to get crazy busy for us over at Lane, and hopefully we really boost those GA numbers this year. Along with that, we also got a federal grant to purchase 4 more aircraft. We assume that to get that money from the government, to get by the airplanes, paint the airplanes, install the avionics, is probably going to take us at least a year to do that. So that will give us the ability to take on a higher student load. And so not only will we see a large increase in numbers this year, our hope is that over the next 2 to 3 years, we'll actually see the numbers at Lane double.
Great, thank you, Josh. Anybody else have anything they want to add or ask?
I did actually. I just wanted to add just a few little side notes. Just to let anybody know who has, I've been kind of overseeing ground transportation and the GA since Travis left, and until they get GA supervisor filled, the parking has been filling up on the weekends. So if you do plan on traveling, just keep that in mind. Our economy lot and long terms have been filling up almost every single weekend. Mostly Fridays and Saturdays, and it will start emptying out on Sundays. So if you do travel over the weekend, just keep that in mind. Also, I'm going to be out of the office for 2 weeks starting on May 2nd. I will not be here to send out the supporting documents and the meeting link. You'll get an email from somebody else, but I will be here for the meeting. I'm flying back in the night before the May 18th meeting. So don't freak out if you see somebody else sending out the meeting link and the supporting documents next month. They're just doing it on my behalf.
Thank you, Randy. Anybody else with anything they'd like to add or say? Well, Catherine, Andrew, Patricia, those were excellent and very positive reports. Thank you. And Jody, thank you for your presentation as well. If nobody else has anything, we'll adjourn until next month, and hopefully it will be in person next month.
That is our intention, is to hold the meeting in person. So everybody cross all your fingers and toes that we'll be able to do that.
Thanks, Catherine. At this time, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Good to see everybody.
Thank you, everyone.